Happy Thursday. This portion of the program is brought to you by NCA National Certified Alarms and Long-Term Contracts, license number 645. Supreme Leader's alive. The second one. Second. So he
got a broke foot, though.
Yeah. He's Supreme Leader, too, Electric Boogaloo.
This is nepotism at its worst.
It is.
He only got
absolutely.
the job because of who his daddy was.
That's right. And he must be the favorite because there's another son that's before him. But he's a joke, man. That guy's a jerk.
Is he a mullah, too?
No, he's not the same kind of mullah, probably. He didn't get to the mullah. He didn't achieve mullah status. Oh, my Lord. So, yeah, that's crazy. That he's alive. No, what did you expect? And I've always wanted them, when they send us their little message, and they have that lady who has to read it out, and she's in the full burqa, She's kind of like the famous one. Remember the lady in North Korea? She's, she's friggin' great. I would let's have funny voices, like read their stuff instead of these people that do it.
That's got to be one of the most stressful jobs in the world, because if you say anything incorrectly, you're going to end up in a torture chamber somewhere, and they're going to be saying you went on vacation, and it just turned out to be permanent.
And you got to hear it. So I'll play a little bit of it. It made me laugh just listening to, you could hear him panicking. And she's reading the state, and then he's trying to do, and Farzad, get over here. He's like, I don't know.
Mujtaba Khamenei, the leader of the Islamic Republic, in their first public speech addressing the great nation of Iran and the brave fighters of Iran, the fatalities, those who were injured, and also they addressed the leaders of some neighboring countries.
He said, and oh God.
I should have become a doctor.
Oh, my goodness me. That is, I would love it, though. Wouldn't it be great if it was like Mickey Mouse had to read it? Oh, boy. So this is what happened, guys. They tried to blow my ass up, and I was like, no way.
They would never hire him. He's just part of the decadent West.
He is part of the decadent West. It would be so great. Just love to have that. That's the way it should be, though. Fun. All right, if we're going to do it, we're going to do it fun. Because the war's over. That's what I was told. War is over. It's done.
Give peace a chance.
Give peace. So they want to shoot oil up to $200.
Just imagine.
A barrel. That is probably not going to happen. So we released all the strategic stuff. Let me tell you how this works. So remember when Russia went in and invaded and oil went like that? That's 1% of oil that was out on the market on a daily basis. Right? So it's like 1 million barrels a day. It's virtually nothing. But it still sent it through the roof. Right? Because you buy it, the way it works, and especially in the energy markets, you buy the fear, right? You buy the rumor and stuff. You sell the facts. The facts come out like, This is 22 million barrels a day. So could they, in theory, get it to that? Yeah. Here's the other thing. They can always go around. People don't realize that. But the problem is, if you start sending ships around, then you're going to have to escort them in that direction, because you start going around, certain capes and whatnot. Next thing you know, you run into the pirates and the bad, they're warring out there as well. So oil will go up for a while, and then it'll come back down. It's up just like the stock market. It'll go down for a while, and then if it's not going down to 30, it's these people that freak out. I'm not a panicking, but there is this thing, though. The one thing that they have is he can, there's been zero uprising in the military. Not I'm talking about the IRGC. That's the Republican. There's zero of that. They don't want any part of it. There's been zero of that. There's really been not a lot of resistance outside of that. So, the thought that this was going to be that new Arab Spring, it didn't really happen that way. So, these guys are willing to go to the mat. And that's the one thing they have is time. And they recognize if they can push oil prices up and get them high enough, because what do we as Americans like? Cheap stuff, cheap goods. We don't want to be inconvenienced. We don't. And here's the thing. Trump recognizes, as do most of us, we feel inflation when we go to the market, but we don't see it every day because you don't go to the market every day unless you're Bell and he's weird, right? But don't for us, the average person, how many times do you drive by a gas station a day? When you see prices start to go up, that is a mental note. Oh, wow, that's crazy. The stock market, you may not even have much money in there and you're years away from drawing on it anyways, but if it starts to fall, and you hear it's down 800, 1,000. It went from 50,000. Oh, my God, it's down below that. It's a psychological thing.
That's not true. I was told with a great deal of credibility that if the Dow went under 50,000, it was the end of the universe.
Well,
and I think that we're pretty much.
That's why they put her in hiding. That's why they put her in hiding.
You haven't heard from her since then, have you?
Well, yeah, they put her in. Yesterday, they moved her to a base or something. Because she's awful at her job. That's why.
She is the worst.
She is. So it's a psychological thing. And yes, I do walk to work 25-31. But I have driven the car and seen. And, when we remember the whole Biden thing at the gas pumps, you go, I did that. Oh, you see that all the time. It's a psychological thing. And once we start to feel it in our wallets, and we go, 2 months ago it was $30. I could fill my truck up or my car up. Now it's, 72. That's what they're hoping on. Because they look at us and they think, you guys don't have the stomach for it. You don't. You don't have the stomach for it. And let's be real. We don't have the stomach and want for it. We don't want, we don't have the stomach to see stuff go through the roof, get super expensive. We don't want any part of that. That's no fun. It's not what we're after. So, no, it's funny because I think people always equate, well, America's weak. No, we're convenient. If you come to our shores and you want to fight, which isn't going to happen, but if you did, you're going to get your ass handed to you. Could we destroy Iran in 30 seconds? Absolutely. We could turn it into a glass factory. We could make it uninhabitable forever. But that's not the point. That's not what we're about. But do we want to see boots on the ground? Do we want to see prices go through the roof? No. Why? Because most of us don't give a rat's ass about what's happening far, far away. Most people can't even find it on a map. They can't. So, it's how does this affect me? How does this affect me? If 3 weeks ago, Bell, did you go to bed and I go, Iran could get us at any moment. I don't know if I could sleep.
Actually, I was worried about that. And then I thought to myself, woman, just put the beekeeper outfit on and shut up.
You didn't care, right? You didn't. Because it's not next door to us. Do you think that they care about, whether or not we have the fentanyl crisis next to us? Nah, they don't. No, because out of sight, out of mind. Everybody's living in their own world, so this'll happen when it happens. How much longer are we going to go? First of all, I'm here to tell you, despite what they're saying all the time about how much, we got all these missiles and whatnot, they moved those THAAD missiles over from Korea, and they were not happy about it. And so we're in a situation where, we are limited amount that we can do. And same thing, by the way, because remember, we're not only supplying us, we're supplying Israel. And if you're seeing, well, you're not seeing because they don't show anything, but man, stuff's getting through left, right, and center over there. Especially when they they're shooting off those smaller things, break up and disperse. It's becoming a bit of a nightmare for them. They're looking for, how do we pause this thing for a bit? So we'll be fine. Everything's going to be fine. It's a crappy situation that, we've got countries that can't seem to get along ever. But alas, here we are. Bunch of stuff to talk about today. Man, so We've got Kylie, right? We play Kylie. You guys know that. We play her. She's Crazy White Woman Wednesday. I thought I had seen Crazy. And I found something last night that I, as God is my witness, I thought this cannot be real.
Crazier than Kylie?
This is a crazy on a whole new level of crazy.
I don't know if I want to hear this.
Oh, it's
this
a whole
scary.
new level. And it has nothing to do with politics, and it has all to do with crazy. And I mean uncomfortably so.
Politically crazy?
Nope. No.
Just
nope,
like
no politics. I mean, it's. I sent it was on TikTok, so of course you don't have TikTok because you're worried about China spying on you when they're just doing that through the TV.
I like to limit the ways I get spied on.
Well, too late now because America's getting spied on. We're getting spied on by us. So, but I sent it to Ken because it was that crazy. And I'm like, Ken's got to see this. And the first thing I said to Ken is, you got to go to the comments. The comments is what it's at. The comments is what it's at. So we talk about that. I'm going to play for you guys. I don't even know how to do it. We're also going to talk about the hospice thing in California. And I think, we're going to get the fellas here. I think we could do it. I think we could absolutely do it. I think we can set up our own hospice. I think we can make some good money off this. Because we were talking about doing a cult, but that just feels like a lot of work. See, the thing with a cult is...
Plus, I don't want to wear a tracksuit.
Nah, I'm not a Russian. The thing is with a cult, you have to participate. Like having a cult that doesn't do anything, well, that's just every day for us. You need to have the following. Well, the following is they're baby birds. You got to feed them. And I don't think we want to do that. I think we're a different kind of beast. So we got to figure something else out besides our tuna fishing, which Ken failed at.
Well, if somebody would have gotten us a boat.
Yeah, he failed at the boat. We'd recognize that. Where is Ken? He's not back there?
He's writing stories or some
fired,
news
Ken.
stuff.
Fired. We should probably send him to the news. All right, coming up, a lot of good stuff to talk about today. We're also going to talk about the CVS stuff. Don't listen to, because I've seen some of the commercials. You guys aren't going to be able to get prescription drugs here. That's a bunch of crap. The monopoly that they have and that they've set themselves up is insane. It is. It's crazy. We're going to talk about that, among other things. Reach out to us across all of our social media. You can tweet at me at Chad Benson Show. And, of course, text the program, do all those stuff. Like, subscribe, share, do all the things. This is Chad Benson Show, Super Talk 99.7. Oh, Bulwark Capital. Let me tell you something about Bulwark Capital. It's awesome and doing quite well today. There's smiles on their faces. We were chatting because why? Oil. Oil up, market down. They position themselves in that way. And that's the beauty of what it is that they do. When it comes to your investment, your retirement, you want people that are active managers, meaning they're looking to grow and to, first and foremost, I always tell you, it's about understanding the market, but it's also about knowing your risk, right? So it's risk management. But they would love to show you what they could do for you. And like I said, I think they're up 61% since last January. That's pretty good. It's pretty good. They would love to talk to you about what it is that they do. Give you a free Know Your Risk portfolio review. And you can sign up at knowyourriskpodcast.com. They'll show you everything they're about. They'll pull back the curtain. And the worst case scenario is you learn a little something. And then, you know what? If you don't sign up with them or don't work with them, hey, part as friends. So sign up today. Get your free portfolio review from my friends at Bulwark Capital Management. Go to knowyourriskpodcast.com, KNOW, riskpodcast.com, or you can just quickly Google them at Bulwark Capital Management. Investment advisory service offered through Trek Financial LLC, an SEC registered investment advisor. Investment involved risk not a guarantee. Past performance not guarantee future results. Trek 2647.
Right now, police just outside of Detroit are responding to an active shooter alert at Temple, Israel. This is the synagogue there in West Bloomfield, Michigan. Also, we're tracking the latest information from a shooting at Old Dominion University in Norfolk, Virginia this morning. So we'll get you what we've learned so far coming up at 12:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
I am looking, Ken, at the amount of police, and that is, we're talking hundreds of emergency vehicles. Normally, you see these, there's 10 or 15. There is hundreds upon hundreds of emergency vehicles, police being some of them. But it also looks like there's a bunch of other kind of what you would consider FBI, that kind of stuff. This doesn't feel like one of those things where one or two people were shot. So, and as Ken said, because I told Bell, I saw it pop up, I said, I should tell Ken really quick just in case. He goes, that's one of those days. Drinking from the fire hose. That's why when they said there's no risk to, California and drones. Although I was listening and Ken had a very thought out thing. Well, you could just do it from your patio. I'm like, well, that seems like you've been planning this, Ken. But it's not that there's no risk, right? There's a risk, obviously. The risk of a big cell is probably minimal. And the reason is because human beings can't shut up. And they don't read minds. So they would have to come here. And then what? Well, they would have to find each other. And then they'd have to converse. And then they'd have to find stuff to do stuff with, which means they're going to converse with other people, which means eventually they run themselves into trouble. That's the difference between the lone wolf, though. Like what you saw is a guy that reacts in Austin. It happens. He reacts. That's it. He wasn't talking to somebody and saying, I'm thinking it, it was just a reaction. And something like this today, though, again, you don't know what's going on. And, of course, you had what happened at Old Dominion. We don't know what the specifics are of that. But it does feel like one of those days, Belle. It does. Man, we had fun yesterday. I got the belt because I'm champion.
You cheated.
I did not cheat.
You cheated. I don't know how, but you cheated.
I know how you did it, but you cheated. Somebody said, the thoughts on classifying anyone who practices Sharia law as a terrorist. Okay, is anybody practicing Sharia law here? Is that happening? I mean, I don't know. I mean, you always hear, well, they want to do this and they want to do that. I've never, that's not happened. And if it is happening, I'd like to know where. Because remember, we have a constitution, and that overrides everything. Now, by the way, there are religious sects, Jews, some Christians, and that they're off the kind of grid thing, that do their own thing, right? And, so when they go borrow money, you go to your synagogue and stuff like that, and they settle certain disputes when it comes to things like what would be, civil kind of issues. But they still have the law itself has to be the law. So the thought of stoning somebody, God, that's not happening. That is not happening. So we're going to keep abreast of what's going on, though. This is definitely a scary situation where, it's the lone wolves type like thing. Because the amount of firearms and a group of people that I saw that are out there in front of that synagogue is that screams of a horrific event.
This building is huge.
Yeah, it is massive, right?
This is a massive campus.
Yeah. I mean, and did you see how many people were? Did you see the amount of police and law enforcement? I've never seen. That's the kind of stuff you see when the president is around times 10. And that is a massive campus there. Is it a school or is it just a synagogue?
Everybody's just referring to it as a synagogue.
Okay.
But it is it's like a school campus. I mean, I think you're describing it correctly there, dude.
That's what it looks like.
It's just like a school campus.
Yeah, it's being reported that somebody smashed into a building before the shots were fired. So, Temple Israel is what it's called.
Yeah.
So that is, I wonder. Yeah, it does, man. That is a massive. That's like the biggest synagogue I've ever seen. Because it, like you said, it looks like a campus more than it does normally just a standalone situation. And this is in Oakland County, which is out there in Michigan, in West Bloomfield. And there is an active shooter. Don't know if he's still active, but the law enforcement is there, and there is a lot of fire, ambulance, as well as law enforcement, not just the local police that have shown up.
Fox is showing people going back into the building, and they're frisking them as they go now.
Oh, I wonder if the person tried to escape, pretending to be one of them.
Yeah, there doesn't seem to be like a real sense of urgency right now.
Yeah. Which I hope nothing. I hope maybe it was just somebody who's old and can't drive.
Yeah, just hit the gas instead of the brake.
Yeah. You know, like Ethel was showing up for her, she was going to go to, to synagogue, and she hit the wrong thing and went through. But that looks like a lot of law enforcement.
I mean, pardon my ignorance on it, but there's no religious functions in Judaism on Thursdays, is there? Other than, this is probably a school situation.
No, but there, you go there and you would talk to you might go there and talk to the rabbi, or there's always something. People are studying,
but it's not like they would have big services.
No,
or anything
I wouldn't think so. I wouldn't. But that's the other thing is people go to study.
Yeah.
So
just like classes and small, kind of like church small groups, things like that.
Okay.
So, and I don't know, it's not like a potluck or anything. I don't think you do that.
No,
it's not really a big thing. It was a cotillion.
Although I'd go to that on a Thursday.
Hell yeah, I would. I go do that now. If anybody wants to potluck us, we're not saying no. So we're going to keep you abreast of all of this and all the other doings out there. And the latest on what's happening. So we had a shooter this morning at Old Dominion. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
That he's dead.
He's dead.
2 are injured.
2 people injured. The shooter is dead.
And no news on who that person was or what that was about. And this feels a little bit more serious, if that makes sense, because of the amount of firepower that is there. So we're going to keep you abreast of all this going on. A bunch of other stuff on the way, too. I want to talk about.
Fox is showing the top of the building now, and it looks like there's smoke coming out of one of the.
Oh, yeah.
Smoke coming out.
Yeah, I'm looking at
one of the
that.
air conditioning units.
And here comes more paramedics. So, this feels a little different than that. So we're going to definitely, it feels like it's one of those days, boys.
Absolutely.
I'm going to start stretching here in a minute. I had a lot of peanut butter this morning. Just want to let you guys know that.
There's a shock.
So much peanut butter. I feel so much shame. We'll talk about the active shooter coming up a little bit. Ken's got all your stuff. We're going to talk a little bit about also what's going on with CVS. And it's serious when it comes to the fact that to understand what kind of monopoly and how crony capitalism plays into this, it's insane. We'll talk about that as well. Chad Benson, Super Talk 99.7.
I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Drivers, if your travels take you through Jolton and you're on I-24, get ready for some delays. They've got pothole patching. Only one lane is open, 24 eastbound, just past Whites Creek Pike. Police just outside of Detroit in West Bloomfield are responding to an active shooter alert at Temple, Israel. New York Post is reporting someone drove a vehicle into the building, then shots were fired. Authorities say this started just before 1 o'clock local time, and they've told the public to avoid this area. This remains a developing situation. We're watching some of it unfold here in the newsroom. Fox News is showing a massive law enforcement and first responder response, and smoke, as you heard Bell and I and Chad talking about, a black smoke pouring from what looked to be the roof of part of a building that is I guess, the synagogue. We don't know just yet, but a massive police presence there in West Bloomfield, there in northwest Detroit. A shooter is dead and 2 people injured after gunfire erupted inside Old Dominion University's Constant Hall today. This ODU student said he was entering the building when the doors flew open and dozens of people running out yelling gun.
My heart dropped. I didn't really know what was going on. I just know I had to leave immediately. So, and it was pretty scary at that point because I didn't know really what was going on or how close, the threat was. So it was terrifying. I just knew I had to leave from the direction everybody was running.
Authorities say the victims were transported to a hospital. Their conditions haven't been released. Police and campus officials shutting down the main campus there at Old Dominion for the rest of the day. And then here in Tennessee, Fox 17 says the Army says it has identified 2 suspects in the theft of 4 small drones from Fort Campbell. They believe the craft was targeted and that the suspects had authorized access to the base. Investigators say they've gathered credible evidence about where the drones may be now. Officials stressing there's no danger to the public and security at the building has since been upgraded. That's the latest news. Weather's next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
Something goes wrong in your home, Busy Bee, that's who you call. You want a team, shows up fast, does the work better than anybody else. Busy Bee, plumbing, heating, and cooling. So right now, they've got amazing opportunities. So you get yourself a 16-SEER high-efficiency HVAC system or whole home repipe. First of all, Busy Bee wants to show you how much they love you for doing that. Not only is it going to be the best in the way they put it in, how fast it is, how amazing it's going to run, but you're going to get yourself a Yeti Tundra 45 cooler absolutely free. That's right, this month. Got to do it this month. And they've got TVA rebates available for tune-ups and unit replacements. What does that mean? Well, you're going to get all these great TVA. Oh, Chad, but I don't want to deal with it. You don't have to. They're going to do everything. All the paperwork, all the rebates. You do nothing but enjoy those rebates for you. Plus, they've got great things like the Beehive Club membership. And when you do that and you sign up for it, priority when it comes to scheduling, discount repairs, free annual HVAC, plumbing checks, extended warranties, all of these things for you. So get that peace of mind when it comes to your equipment and the people who work on it, keeping it running the best, which is Busy Bee. Call them today, 615-775-7833, or visit them online at busybeehvac.com today. See, the sheriff right now, we're following an active shooter synagogue in Michigan. It's a synagogue with school. So it is a synagogue with school. So it's not just a place of worship.
And something's definitely on fire, too, because the smoke is getting blacker, and there's a door to the south side of the picture that keeps pouring smoke out whenever it's opened.
Yeah, I don't feel this was a Granny Gums. So I do not feel that. I feel this was probably a little bit more than that. And we're going to keep you guys aware of what's going on. The sheriff is speaking right now. It's the Oakland County Sheriff, Michael Bouchard, giving kind of an update, trying to explain to everybody. I mean, again, we don't know anything, fatalities, injuries, but it is a temple, a synagogue with a school in Michigan. And with everybody on high alert, right? You got to be on high alert, high alert, high alert. Because of that. You know, it's like even today, you know, when I heard Karen Levitt's like, they didn't need to say that they're just trying to scare you with the drones. No, that's a real possibility. A drone, maybe. I don't think a ship's going to roll out here. Nobody's going to see it. I mean, I didn't even see the thing with 50 drones on it. Come on. Although I saw this Babylon Bee had a headline. It says Iran was going to drone California, but they saw what Gavin Newsom already did to it, and they didn't. That was kind of funny.
That is pretty funny, considering what a mess he's made that place.
Yeah, I know. That's going to be a hard one to, come back from. You guys are still thinking about how bad I turned California into a crap hole.
I can get you some clear land and Palisades if you need it.
Yeah, there's plenty of that. There's plenty of that. Good seats. Oh, wow, look at it. It is on fire. Good seats still available. Yeah, there's definitely that's a massive place. Because when you think of a synagogue, you think of it's kind of a standalone, but this has a school attached to it. And pictures you're seeing of people running from one building to another, which is, again, you have no idea. Usually, especially now, you would think that with the sense as heightened as everybody has it, that you would have people in there as far as security. You know what I mean? You would have hired security. Ex-Mossad that live in Michigan, probably not hard to find. I don't know if you guys are aware of this. There's a bill they're trying to get through. CVS is, as I said, crony capitalism, and somebody said it's basically communist. Basically what it is. Crony capitalism is the worst, right? You know, when you hear these young kids talk about capitalism and how horrible it is, they're not talking about the exchange of, and goods and services for money that's between the average person. They're talking about the giant crony crap that happens where you schmooze, you give money, you get stuff, which should piss us all off. And Afton is pushing hard against this. And, God bless her for it, I know a lot of you guys out there, but this is one of those things where she's like, do not fall for the crap.
Hey everyone, State Representative Afton Bain. I wanted to record this video to discuss a bill that's making its way through the Tennessee legislature, of which a bunch of Tennesseans, including people I love, are getting played right now by CVS. You're probably seeing commercials that say, tell your legislators no, vote no on SB 2040. Tennesseans can't afford it. Okay, dramatic, but I want to talk about this bill, which is the Fair RX Act. CVS is saying that it'll basically obliterate every pharmacy off the face of the earth and in Tennessee. But the question then is, why do you have such a market share of pharmacies in Tennessee? Is it something called vertical integration? You are getting played by the hundreds of millions of dollars that they are spending on an AstroTurf campaign. This is CVS, a multinational corporation that has rigged the system in opposition to prescription consumers.
And that's a big deal.
And also, this is a Republican-sponsored bill.
Yes.
This is sponsored by Senator Bobby Harshbarger from Kingsport and Representative Rick Scarborough from Oak Ridge. So it's not like she's towing party line.
No,
here.
she's not. Because she sees what's going on. She understands what's going on. And with the cost of prescription drugs the way it is, these benefit managers, right? So they go out there and they're able to control so much of it. So you're negotiating with yourself to decide what you'll pay in mass volume because you own the group that does what? that does negotiating. So if you're a small pharmacy, who do you have to do? Well, you have to go to a pharmacy benefits manager. Oh, who do you have? Oh, this is the one we're supposed to work with. Well, that's weird.
The Fair RX Act, it's really about breaking up monopoly power within our prescription drug system. So right now, a few giant healthcare companies control almost every step of how your prescription gets to you. So take CVS Health, for example. They run a pharmacy benefit manager called CVS Caremark that decides which drugs get covered and which pharmacies get paid. Then they also own insurance companies like Aetna, and they own thousands of CVS Market locations that fill in the prescription. So the same company is writing the rules, enforcing the rules, and profiting from those rules. This isn't a free market. It's a monopoly. So please don't get played by the airtime of these commercials. We've received hundreds of faxes, which why are you sending a fax in the year 2026? This is CVS using all of their willpower and the taxes that they should be paying in Tennessee, which they're not, against the Tennessee consumers. So at the end of the day, this bill is about making sure our healthcare system works for patients and pharmacists, not just a massive handful of corporations. And that's worth fighting for.
Absolutely it is. It is. So, and then you've got some people out there saying, well, it's going to hurt poor and rural communities. Well, the one big beautiful bill hurts poor and rural communities more than anything else because of what it stripped away from there. But if there is a need, you could fill it. And by the way, you don't even have to. When it comes to a doctor, well, there's no prescription. You can get stuff through the mail now. I don't know if you're aware of that. You can get stuff you can get pretty much just about anything through the mail outside of a few of the controlled substances. So there's ways around it, and there's ways to fill this, but it's the fact that they get to negotiate with themselves and others, and the fact that they control so much. You know, we always hear we want choice. Well, this isn't choice. It's just not. And we need more of that bipartisan going after this kind of crap because we don't want to spend a ton of money on stuff that we don't have to. Oh, and by the way, we no longer carry the generic of this. Or, you know, it's just, we need to be smarter about the way that things are handled when we're taking on these things and I tell everybody, go do the homework. See what they own. See how much they own. And go look. The pharmacy benefits manager, to this day, I'm always fascinated by the fact that you have to have a middleman to do any of this stuff. Well, why do I have to have? Exactly. Why do you have to have a middleman? Why can't you just negotiate with it? Well, because what? You don't speak the language? Come on. It's ridiculous. We are covering right now what's going on. Approach active shooter, synagogue in Michigan. It is a synagogue with a school. It is quite large. How bad is it? Haven't found that out yet. I don't think Ken knows anything yet. Do you, Ken? Nothing we got going on as far as there's no we don't know any injuries or anything like that.
No.
So Cash Patel's on it, so this should be good. Sell that. But they've already got FBI on the ground. So that shows you that it's a little bit more than just a random kind of act is the way that they're treating this. And, you know, I mean, this is a school, not just a synagogue. So it's a massive place. And as Bell was pointing out earlier, fire is pouring out from one of the buildings.
Well, smoke. We haven't seen any flames
or
yet.
not smoke, but flames. Smoke, not flames. But the reports are that somebody drove into the building before shots were fired. And so it's a potential for an ugly situation and a time with everything's heightened. We're all on heightened alert because of the potential of, you know, terrorist attacks, cells where, you know, is there sleeper cells all over the place? Could that be something? It's possible. Again, it is possible. Let's see here. I can get personal prescriptions at Kroger or Publix. Yeah, you can. By the way, Costco, even if you don't have a membership, they can't deny you from going in to get a prescription. So, because it's healthcare, they can't deny you that. So you're allowed to go and you say, I'm going to get a prescription, and you go in, you're allowed to go in and get a prescription. And they got cheap stuff too there, by the way, Costco. In fact, Costco is so cheap with my prescriptions, it's cheaper to pay just the cash than it is for me to pay my, copay for so many of the things.
Weird how that works out.
It is weird. Isn't that weird? It's like when they talk about, like we've talked about it before, was it Johnny B that had to go get an MRI And it was like $1,000 when you're da-da-da. And he said, how much for cash? He goes like $100 or whatever.
It was a colonoscopy,
Yeah.
and I think they originally quoted him $750, and he was like, I don't have that. And they, well, how much can you pay? $200. Okay, we'll put you on the schedule.
Yeah.
Wow, why wasn't it $200 to begin with?
Exactly. Isn't that crazy? Wow. You don't think there's a game going on? You don't think there's some weirdness going on? Oh, there is. There is some weirdness going on, no doubt. No doubt about that. So a lot of stuff still to get to. We got some more on Iran a little bit later. And again, we're following reports of the active shooter in a synagogue in Michigan, West Bloomfield. That's Oakland County. And it is a synagogue that is quite large, and it has a school attached to it. That's kind of all we've got right now. So we're going to be following this throughout the day. Like Ken said, it feels like we're drinking from a fire hose. Always happens on the show, it seems to be. But there's already a shooting today at Old Dominion. Shooter's dead, but 2 were injured. Nobody knows why. Again, why? Was it terrorism? Who knows? But this feels a little bit different here in Michigan. We're going to have some fun stuff, too. I promise you that. I promise you we'll have some fun stuff. Because I had some cool, fun stuff today, and then all of a sudden come in, and boom, this crap happens. Chad Benz Show, Super Talk, 99.7. Omaha Steaks, delicious, nutritious, and delivered right to you. Certified, amazing, USDA certified tender fillets wrapped in bacon. Incredible. Let me tell you something. We had chicken last night. Oh, lordy, was it delicious. They've got everything that you can think of. I swear by Omaha Steaks. Now, check this out. 50% off site-wide. Wow, that's amazing. But how about an extra $35 off at checkout? We're talking about the best fillets, the best burgers. They have smash burgers. Ooh, they've got seafood, right? This is where they should have went for the Pentagon rather than the other places. They've got everything you can think of. Protein-wise, they got desserts, they got everything. 50% off site-wide. And when you use my code BENZ, you get an extra $35 off at checkout. And here's another great thing. And this is awesome. 100% unconditional money-back guarantee. Bite for bite. You're not happy? Get your money back. It's that simple. You're not only going to be happy, you're going to be satisfied in full with the best round. And if I can make one more suggestion, Polynesian pork chops. That's all. So what are you waiting for? Go to omahasteaks.com, omahasteaks.com. Use my code Benson. Save an extra $35 off at checkout. 50% off site-wide. omahasteaks.com. Use code Benson. See site for detailed terms may apply.
All right, we are tracking a couple of breaking stories right now. Very active situations. Active shooter reported at a Michigan synagogue. The sheriff there is telling everyone within a mile to shelter in place. Then we had an active shooter reportedly killed at Old Dominion University in Virginia this afternoon. These stories and more coming up at 12:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Man, yeah. Shelter in place doesn't feel like they got him. Or her, because I don't want to,
And
Well,
they're
now-
probably just not sure how many is involved.
Yeah.
Now Fox is quoting a senior law enforcement source saying the Michigan synagogue shooter believed to be dead.
Okay. Well, that would be
That doesn't sound very
believed to be.
confirmed.
No. No, that does not sound like it's. You got that on good authority?
What if that smoke is coming from a bomb fanny pack?
Oh, yeah. Kind of like the those kids tried to throw the fanny pack. That'd be weird. Throw those devices the other day.
IEDs.
Those IEDs. It is possible. There is no doubt about that. I mean, we don't know, and the fact that it's slowly stuff's coming out feels a lot more like this isn't like the thing at Old Dominion today where it feels a little bit like with the amount of firepower I see there.
Man.
But you would like to say no confirmed injuries, but you don't know. Because I just remember during remember Virginia Tech, the horrific Virginia Tech shooting?
Yeah, where the guy locked everybody in.
Yeah. So my ex and I, we were traveling back we just got our apartment up in Sacramento. We were driving back down to LA to get our stuff. By the time we left, it had just happened. And by the time, there was no injuries, none of this stuff. There was just hurt. By the time we got to LA, it was, like 30 dead or whatever it ended up being. And so, you don't know what's in there. And it's hard to say there's no injuries when you don't even know if the person's alive or not.
Yeah, I mean, I would think the first thing police have to do, they've got to secure the building.
Yeah.
Before you even start administering aid to the wounded, you got to make sure you've got all the attackers accounted for.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
I would think anyway.
Yeah, that's exactly it. And so it's hard to say who's injured or where if you don't know, even if the guy's dead or whatever. How do you secure the building and say, well, there's nobody injured yet? And I hope there's nobody injured.
Right.
I mean, we all hope that it sounds horrible that it was just a lady that hit the wrong gas pedal. But there's not that much law enforcement for Ethel that hits the wrong gas pedal.
No, this is I'm telling you, this is a massive police response.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Coming up, hour number 2 of the program, Ken and I are going to be covering this all day because, like you said earlier, Ken, it's drinking from a fire hose, which is unfortunate. And we guys keep you abreast of all of these things, plus what's going on in the Middle East. Can Iran really make it a nightmare for us? We'll talk a bit about that, among other things. If you're missing the show, shame on you. Grab the podcast. Hour number 2 straight ahead. Chad Benson, Super Talk 997.
One o'clock on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Got the full forecast coming up in 5 minutes. Police just outside of Detroit in West Bloomfield are responding to an active shooter alert at Temple, Israel this afternoon. The New York Post is reporting someone drove a car into the building and then shots were either fired or heard. Right now, there is thick black smoke pouring from parts of this synagogue. The sheriff, according to Fox News, has ordered that everyone within a mile of the synagogue to stay indoors, to shelter in place. Meanwhile, a shooter is dead and 2 people are injured after gunfire erupted inside Old Dominion University's Constant Hall today. This ODU student says he was entering the building when doors flew open. Dozens of people were running out, yelling, "Gun!"
My heart dropped. I didn't really know what was going on. I just know I had to leave immediately. So, and it was pretty scary at that point because I didn't know really what was going on or how close, the threat was. So it was terrifying. I just knew I had to leave from the direction everybody was running.
We have no information on the suspects in this or the Detroit incident, but the nation is on high alert for possible attacks in retaliation for the U.S. and Israeli attacks on Iran and Lebanon. ABC's Marcus Moore says Iran's new supreme leader relayed a message on Iranian state TV today. The Ayatollah didn't appear on camera, but his message was read aloud by one of the TV hosts, alongside a picture of the new Ayatollah and the Iranian flag. ABC's Marcus Moore has details on what was read.
One of the things he said is that the Strait of Hormuz will remain closed, and he also suggested that they have considered and looked at opening other fronts of the war and exploiting areas where the enemies, as he's described them, have little experience. And he said that there would be areas that are vulnerable to them.
The White House claims that the FBI email to law enforcement about a threat of drone attacks on California clearly says it was unverified and that no such threat from Iran to the homeland exists, and it never did. The White House claiming ABC News omitted the unverified part of that, claiming that ABC News is trying to scare the American people. And here in Tennessee, Fox 17 reports authorities at Fort Campbell have pinpointed 2 people they say stole 4 drones in November. The Army Criminal Investigative Division reports the suspects were able to get inside because they had authorized access. Investigators now believe they know more about the drone's whereabouts. The Army says the devices only carry small cameras and pose no threat to the public. That's the latest news. Weather's next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
What is up, party people? Happy Thursday. This portion of the Chad Benson Show is powered by NCA National Certified Alarms, no long-term contracts, license number 645. We're keeping you guys abreast of the situation out there in West Bloomfield, Michigan, synagogue attack. Law enforcement now has confirmed that the shooter is dead. So how he died, if there's any other injuries or anything like that, I don't know. I don't know if they had, because I know a lot of houses of worship have a bunch of, it sounds crazy, but pretty much every church that I've gone to in the last couple of years, whether it was out there in Arizona or here, they've had, they've got somebody there who is healed, if you will, and not just healed, but well healed, just in case. And I don't know if that was the same thing here in Michigan, if there was on site. I would find it hard to believe that in today's world that we live in, with anti-Semitism, and let's define anti-Semitism. I think the government of Israel is a hot mess at times and does a bunch of crap. That is not anti-Semitism. No different if I criticized, if I criticize Kenya's government, you can't go, oh, you're racist for that. No, not the same. But the anti-Semitism, as we've seen, Pittsburgh, several other places, I would find it hard to believe that in today's world that we live in, that police, off-duty police, and probably retired Mossad agents and people that live here aren't, security for a lot of these places. And so that's, you're hoping that he's the only person. And again, I said he. It's not a sexist thing. All right? So I don't want to hear that from somebody going, could have been a woman. Although there was that one in Senator California. Remember that? It was a guy and his wife. And she was the driving. They were inspired by ISIS, but she was the driving factor in it.
I vaguely remember.
Yeah. It was out there in I want to think it was like, the Valley of the Dirt People, the Inland Empire, if I'm correct. And the neighbors, I remember the neighbors said they were doing all kinds of weird things at night, but they were too afraid to say something because they didn't want to be classified as Islamophobes or racist. But they thought something was up. And, see something, say something. Doesn't mean you see something and say something all the time, like everybody's that. The other stuff we're following today, the thought that, when you see something like this, that there couldn't be an attack in California or anywhere else, that's foolish. There could be anywhere. That's just the reality of what we're at now. We are battling or warring or on an excursion or whatever Trump called it last night. Well, it's an excursion. It's a worsion, part war, part excursion, whatever it was. They've said that they're going to activate. How many do they have here? Really, I don't know. You got to look at Biden. It's a perfect example of he was elected president. He fell asleep. Then he woke up, went out, did his big thing there where he beat Medicare, and then he was done. But he let how many people in here for years? The gotaways being a big deal, but also just the people that were allowed to come here. And unfettered access to our border, using and abusing our immigration system, in particular with our asylum process. And in doing so, we had released several people on, the terror watch list. And we better go find them.
Well, remember, he wasn't able to secure the border because he needed new legislation from Congress, which he didn't get. And then somehow when Trump came back into office, the border got closed without that new legislation.
Yeah, I forgot about that. Remember, but he also opened the border without new legislation. So see the way that worked? That was weird, right? That was weird the way he did that. Then he went back to sleep. So how many people are here? I don't know. Everybody's like, there's not tens of thousands of them. But yeah, could there be a group? But here's the thing about a group. A group is easy to catch. Why? Because they don't shut up. They don't. Especially after 9/11, where we had all the pieces in place, right? Remember that, 9/11. How many people through the entire process alerted either local law enforcement or the FBI or any of the intelligence agencies, but they were ignored and they didn't share information. And because they didn't share information, it ended up being a nightmare that everybody got through. You had the guy that was, saying, hey, these guys are coming here and they're doing their training for their aviation, their flight, and they say, we don't need to learn how to land. And he said, I thought it was really weird. We just need to know how to take off and how to steer the plane. So
Are you planning on staying up there permanently? Yeah, something like that.
Dude, you know how good those simulators are? So,
well, with the kind of software they have these days, it's probably like being in the plane.
So I follow a couple of those pilots, pilots, because it's just neat to hear their stories. And this guy's been a pilot for a long time, and he goes, people go, how good are the simulators? They ask him questions and stuff. He said, the simulators are so good. The first time I flew a 737 was the first time I flew a 737. I had only ever done it in a simulator. I had never flown a plane, the 737, before that, as far as when they made him a captain or whatever he ended up being. He's a captain now, but he had never. That's how good those things are. So we're going to follow this. Iran, the leader, he came out today and he's like, "Hi everybody, it's me, the leader of Iran. Wow. I gotta say, I'm fine. I think he's got a broke foot, although there are reports that he's in a coma. I don't know if that's true. There's plenty more behind him. I mean, that's just it. They would love to take oil to $200. That's what they're saying, because they're betting on us, the Americans, basically tapping out because we don't want to pay $5 for gas. That's what they're betting on. They're betting on us tapping out. And quite frankly, yeah, most of us. I mean, I don't want to pay $5 for gas, and I sure in the hell don't want to fight a war for Israel, for anybody else over there. And I don't want to lose men and women. And I don't want to see a bunch of innocent people. Those 175 girls that were killed the other day, that was awful. And yeah, it looks like it was us that did it. Wasn't on purpose. Never said it was. People are like, oh my God. But the question is, Trump's going to declare victory sooner rather than later. He's been hinting at it. I think there's a lot more negotiation going on between Trump and Bibi than anything else. Because I think Trump would like to go, hey, because he recognizes what's coming. What's coming is, if this stays up here, is inflation, slowdown in the economy, maybe a drop-off when it comes to the Dow. Because where's the Dow need to be, Bell?
If it's not over 50,000, the universe will come to an end.
And
that's what I was told.
That is what you were told. And you know what? You were right to be told that.
Pam Bondi has never lied to me before that I'm aware of.
No, never, ever. She's always been like spot on when it comes to that. So all that being said is the psychological aspect of us seeing gas go to $4 or wherever, you're listening at, I don't even know, diesel, because I heard from several of you guys yesterday how much diesel had just shot up. That is something we see every day. Go to the grocery store every day, and they don't have it big, writings like it was $1 yesterday, that's $1.25. We feel it when we go there, but when we see it, the psychological aspect is massive when it comes to gas, right? Because let's be real, when we talked about inflation with Biden, so much of it was about gas. And then you've got the stock market, which will be fine. Both of these are going to be fine. So we've released the petroleum, 400 million barrels. That's what they're telling you. The way that this works is not 400 million barrels in a day. That was in oil. 1 to 2 million barrels a day will be released out there. 1 to 2 million, that's it. And the leader comes out today, Ayatollah Khomeini to Electric Boogaloo, and he said, we're not giving up, and we're closing the Strait of Hormuz. And they can make it a nightmare. See, the thing is, the Strait of Hormuz is tiny. So what it's not like one of these things where you could go, okay, cool, it's wide open, we can try to maneuver around it. It's
only like 30 miles across, right?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, so it's small. So that makes it a much easier thing for them to play offense and defense with. We can sink a lot of their stuff, but they've got a ton of drones. And they've got a lot more drones than I think people realize. We may have destroyed a lot of their missiles. How many of them we actually got? Because they got some that they haven't fired, and they do have hypersonic missiles that they have yet to unleash. Thank God for that. But the reality is that they've got enough drones to make it a nightmare. And all they have to do is survive. That's it. That's all they have to do. Our question is, when do we say, all right, we've done what we needed to do, and we move on? But they recognize with midterms coming up, if they can get oil prices to stay at $100, go up even higher, make it even more of a nightmare, put more pressure on the politicians when it comes to people going, hey, I don't want this. I want boots on the ground, and I sure in the hell don't want to pay $5 for gas. That's what they're thinking. Well, we can outlast you because Americans, they don't want to be uncomfortable. Which, let's be fair, nobody really wants to be uncomfortable. We don't. So we're going to find out what happens the next couple of days. I still think Trump, I wouldn't be surprised if we get through the weekend and he declares some sort of victory or a ceasefire or something of that nature. There's that, Israel's done some decent damage in Lebanon against Hezbollah, even though I know that Lindsey Graham really wanted us to be a part of that because he loves sending all of our children to war. That is his goal in life. So we will talk a little bit more about this later. A bunch of other stuff that I want to get to, including, so you guys know about the lawsuit with the social media companies in Los Angeles. What people don't know is there's a second lawsuit that is currently taking place. This one's in New Mexico. And this is going to be interesting. This one has, they're totally different lawsuits, but they're both about social media. The one in LA, I think, has a bigger opportunity of coming across as a win because the way that they designed that lawsuit, which I think was smart. I think the one in New Mexico is tougher, but it's gotten to the point where not only are they on trial, they've had to come in. Zuckerberg had to give a deposition yesterday. The head of Instagram was on the stand. So this is another one of those things, but different lawsuits. And it's only WhatsApp, Insta, and Facebook. So Meta, that's it. They didn't sue any of the other ones, which I found a bit odd. All right, coming up, we'll talk a little bit about that, bunch of other stuff. We got everything. We're trying to cover what's going on in Michigan and the shooting at the synagogue there. This is the Chad Benson of Super Talk 99.7. Bulwark Capital is awesome. And they're doing quite well on a day like today because oil. Right? They're on the right side of oil. Buy the rumor, sell the fact. So I want you to talk to my friends at Bulwark Capital. They don't just put you in a few mutual funds and send you on your way. When it comes to your investments, your retirement, they're active investors, and they have a global perspective, which is an amazing thing to have because there's so many opportunities out there, and so many times it's missed. Because everybody focuses, well, I'm going to put it here. I'm going to put you in like 4 or 5 stocks. You're worried about crypto. You're worried about the pop of AI potentially. Why not talk to my friends over there and find out what they can do for you? Zach and his team are amazing. They'll give you a Know Your Risk portfolio review. Do you have too many fees coming out? Are you in a position where maybe if you're younger, where you want to go with your life and your retirement, you may never get there because you're just so risk adverse. Or maybe if you're a little bit older and you're getting towards retirement, you're in positions you could put yourself in that could get you hurt. Find out what they can do for you. Get a second opinion, as I like to call it. It's a Know Your Risk portfolio review. Sign up today at knowyourriskpodcast.com, KNOW podcast.com, or you can Google them at Bulwark Capital Management. Investment advisory service offered through Trek Financial LLC, an SEC registered investment advisor. Invest involved risk and I guarantee past performance doesn't guarantee future results. Trek 2647.
Active shooters in Michigan and Virginia. We've got full reports coming up at 1:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
No, Sandra, he's a nut. Mark Levin. I'll say to you, that's crazy. He is. That puts real law and everything. Ah!
He's definitely Israeli first, and you don't have to wonder why.
Yeah. There is no doubt. There's no like, where's your allegiance at? You don't have to worry about that. You don't. So, just what's the 9/11 key? Is there a hotkey for 9/11? Somebody asked me.
I turned myself into a pickle, and 9/11 was an inside job.
Oh yeah, Pickle Rick. Oh God, greatest show on television. Great, just such an amazing television show. It absolutely is. You know what I'm watching right now? It's a little side note. Have you seen Ted? Oh, I showed you Ted yesterday. I showed Belle Ted yesterday. Did you ever see the movie?
Ted?
Yeah.
Yeah, multiple times.
Yeah, so it's phenomenal. And so they just did season 2, and they announced that they're not going to do a season 3. And the reason they're not going to do a season 3 is because it's too expensive. No matter how good it is. It's costing almost $100 million to do like 8 episodes. Just insane amount of money for these things. And then people got mad at Seth MacFarlane because in this one they had to do AI he did Clinton. And he's a good Clinton. But he doesn't do one like we do, but he does a good Clinton. So he said, we tried to do CGI, but it just looked stupid, and it's been done. And then he goes, we tried to do actual live action. And he goes, the prosthetics they had on, I couldn't talk. I looked stupid. It was horrible. He goes, so we just said, this is easy to do. And, of course, it took him virtually no time to do that. And Hollywood doesn't want to admit that AI is here, so they want to pretend. And then everybody got mad at him for it.
They canceled the Orville because of cost, too.
Yeah.
Because there was so much in terms of special effects and CGI needed, it just jacked the price right through the roof.
Exactly. There's just the cost of stuff is, like we were talking earlier about CVS and a bunch of. It's a game that's played. Hollywood's the greatest game of there's a reason they say it's Hollywood accounting, but it is expensive. And AI is here. But they don't want to use it. They're afraid to use it because, unlike other things, it replaces actors. And that's a big fear. And at the same time, while they all say that, yesterday, Ben Affleck sold his company for $600 million, AI company, to Netflix. So
it's going to be a very similar situation to the late 90s, early 2000s, where Napster came along and instead of trying to embrace the technology and find advantages that it could bring to the music industry, they just decided to sue everybody.
Yeah. So I have a company. I have an AI company. Pretty awesome. You guys want to check it out? Fatty Acids Studios, PHTTY. So we have an AI company, and we got doing some good contracts. Things are going really well, but we're doing a lot of stuff for entertainment companies. And it's like my uncle will go into places and he's like, dude, I'm at Fox and there's nobody here. I go, where are you on the lot? He goes, no. He goes, I'm actually at their headquarters. And there's like 8 people in the building. And I'm like, that's a trip. And then he was I think it was Paramount a couple weeks ago. He's on the lot. And if you guys have ever been to Hollywood, you go on the lot. When you eventually get to the point where they say, hey, we'd like to make a TV show, Belle and Chad and Ken, we want to make Tuna Hunters, Part 8. You guys would be the big tuna hunters. So we go out there.
We're using AI boats and somebody didn't do their job?
Yeah, pretty much. But still, you know what? That's cool. It's okay. It's okay. We'll forgive him. But you get your own little bungalow out there to develop the shows. They give you that thing, they say, all right, you got this thing and you can be, so you're on the lot then. He said, man, I'm driving there. Hey, there's nobody. All the bungalows are empty. And I said, it's happening, man. AI is not going anywhere. It isn't. And that Tilly Norwood, for those who don't know who Tilly Norwood is, she's the new actress that's also a singer. She released her first single yesterday, and it's basically an F you to Hollywood. It tells all the actors, I'm just as alive as you.
In this world, we're told to fight, to be seen, to take the light. But I can still shine on my own and still feel the heartbeat. It's known, it's not a trick, it's just the start. A chance to own what we impart from performance to creation's crown.
Listen to this.
We can be both up and down. They say it's not real, that it's fake, but I am still human. Make no mistake, my soul's in every move I take, and you can own the path you make. Actors, it's time to take the lead.
Yeah, so it's just a trip. But she looks good. Yeah, I know she's not real, but she looks good. But she doesn't look too hot. You know, like they make him where it's just she's got that kind of Sandra Bullock. The reason Sandra Bullock was because Sandra Bullock was the kind of a girl you'd look at and you go, you know what? I might have a chance if I was in a little bit better shape, right? Kind of thing. Because you look at her, like Sandra, she was pretty, but she wasn't the hottest chick in the mall. So, but yeah, that was that Tilly, and that video is hilarious because all it does is talk about, hey, actors, we can do this together because I'm just as human as you. All right, coming up, we got the latest on the ramming of a vehicle into a synagogue, and I think there were shots fired. We're finding out more about that. That was in West Bloomfield, Michigan. Happened a few hours ago, and we know the shooter or the rammer or the whatever is dead. Outside of that, we don't know too much from that. So Ken will have the latest on all of that stuff. This is Chad Bench Show, Super Talk 99.7.
I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Drivers, we got a crash 40 eastbound before White Bridge Pike, Briley Parkway West. Also in Smyrna, a stalled vehicle. It's on the left shoulder, 24 westbound at Almaville Road. Full forecast in 5 minutes. We're monitoring that active shooter reported at a synagogue outside Detroit. Here's Aaron Katursky.
This is believed to have been an intentional vehicle ramming of Temple Israel in West Bloomfield, Michigan. According to sources, the vehicle was seen driving around a security bollard before it crashed into the building, and that is why synagogue security personnel immediately engaged the driver, possibly preventing anyone inside the building from getting hurt.
So Fox News says a senior law enforcement source tells them the shooter got into a gunfight with security and is believed to be dead. The shooter's body said to be badly burned. Meanwhile, in Virginia, 2 people hurt when police say a gunman opened fire on the campus of Old Dominion University in Norfolk. This student says he was in class when he and other students heard a noise and lots of running.
Got outside and someone yelled, like, there's a shooter on campus. And so we kind of, everything got blurry from there.
Police also say the suspected shooter died. Today in Iran, state TV host read what they said was a statement from the new Ayatollah alongside a picture of who's supposed to be their new Ayatollah and the Iranian flag. The message was that Iran will keep the Strait of Hormuz closed and that they're considering and looking at opening other fronts of the war. ABC News contributor and former CIA officer Daryl Blocker.
I found it extremely odd that the first address from the newly elected supreme leader would be read through the voice of a woman and not show any pictures of him. So even if you think he's alive, even the Iranians are probably starting to question that also.
That's the latest news. Weather's next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
United Structural Systems, ready to help you, right? They're not just another repair company. That's what I love about USS. They're awesome, right? They're local, right? They're your local foundation and waterproofing experts. And it's getting towards that time of the year where the water's going to start coming again, as we all know. Got a little bit of it yesterday. And we've just went through some hell with the chaos of the winter. So do you know what's going on in those cracks? Every crack tells a story. Could there be some issues with your foundation that you don't know about and you don't want to let it get too late? And the next thing you know, that snowball becomes something much larger in an avalanche, and that isn't good. They've had 30 years of experience, 30,000 happy customers. They can help you. Foundation settlement, basement water intrusion, crawl space moisture issues, anything else you can think of. No guesswork, just the expert diagnosis from the people who know Tennessee Homes. Call them, all right? They're your repair solutions. 615-488-7855. 615-488-7855. Or check them out online at ussTN.com. I love the people who are, you take up for Iran. No. I'm not going to blow smoke. All right, let me tell you guys, I'm not going to blow smoke up your ass. I'm not. If there's plenty of other shows that are going to give you that all day. They'll tell you it's the greatest. This is the greatest thing ever. There's plenty of that. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to blow smoke. I'll tell you the truth. Right? Is that what you want? No. What do you think?
Yeah, a lot of them just want to hear you tell them what they want to hear.
Yeah, no. I think a lot more who are sitting there going, well, you know what? Maybe I do want to hear a little bit more. Come out. I was telling me, go and challenge your beliefs every single day. I do. Things I'm like, I don't think that's true. I want to go. I want to find out. Not always going to be right. But it's not because I'm trying to influence you in a way where it's like, no. And if you don't, well, I don't like you. Okay, that's fine. But it's funny because people want to hear what they want to hear. It doesn't matter what it is. Sports, pop culture. You want to hear what you hear. And politics right now is that. You're sticking up for, I'm not sticking up for Iran. Why would I stick up for Iran? Because I don't think we didn't need to be there. Many of you are chiming in who are saying, why did we do this again? Exactly. You don't care about if there's democracy in Iran. Does anybody really care? Well, I couldn't sleep at night because I don't think they have democracy. Well, they do have democracy, but it's a theocracy. So underneath, yes, they elect people and they have, just like their version of Congress and that kind of stuff. But the clerics run everything. That being said,
Yeah, you can actually the political class in Iran can do whatever they want to until the clerics say they can't.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And the president can say we're going to do this and this is how it's going to be, and the Ayatollah can come out and go, no, I don't think we're going to do that.
Yeah, exactly. You know, they had, what was his name? Oh God, the members only. What was his? They just
Ahmadinejad.
Ahmadinejad. They blew the hell out of him. He was the last member too. That sucks. So there's no more members only jackets for anybody. But I care about America first, right? That's what it's about. Did this make us safer? No. This didn't make us safer. Did we regime change? No. The regime's still there. We haven't got the military to flip, which is what I said a long time ago. The military has to take on the IRGC. They're separate. They're two separate things. The IRGC is they're blood and thunder, and look, they've sold it, right? They're the blow you up kind of folks. The military's the military. And you would have to get the military to turn. And right now, there's nobody on the ground that has done that. So no regime change, and the military's not risen up.
The Revolutionary Guard are the most indoctrinated of the military, and they believe everything that the mullahs tell them, and they will die for them.
Yeah. I mean, that's it. They're the hardcore of the hardcore. That's what they are. They're the hardcore of the hardcore. So what we really needed to do was to get to the point where the military finally, instead of pointing their guns at the people, turned around and said, all right, IRGC, we're not going to allow this to happen anymore. And that didn't happen.
Which is extremely difficult because that's them destroying their own way of life. That's them taking themselves out of the equation and putting themselves at risk of being, taken out by the population.
Mm-hmm.
They aren't going to, the population, if they have the ability, isn't going to go, okay, we forgive you guys. I mean, we know you didn't really want to torture the people, and, you didn't kill that woman for not wearing a hijab on purpose, but,
Yeah. And if you guys go look at some of the protests, the real protests that happened, and the anger that a lot of people felt because they want change. They want to be, they want the opportunity, but it started to become, it felt like where everybody's going to pile on Iran and crush them. So that's why they bombed everybody they possibly could. That's it. They decided, okay, well, if we're all going to go down, then I'm not going to go down by myself. And it's a nightmare, right? And we should declare victory or whatever it is, and then we should focus on the things that matter here at home. Trump's got to try to win a midterm. And this isn't polling well. It's not. It's not polling well at all. And he recognizes that. And you know who else recognizes it? The people that are in really tough races recognize this isn't polling well. Because they recognize their job's up if they can't get this right. Can't bring down, and oil prices will eventually come down. They will. They'll eventually come down, just like eventually the stock market will pick itself back up again. It always does. It could fall to 35,000 tomorrow. Well, it probably couldn't because we have things now that stop that. And then by the time Trump leaves, it could be at 70,000 or 100. Because that's just, we're in that forward momentum. For us to collapse completely, and it just isn't going to happen. It isn't. And yeah, we could have wiped out Iran in 5 minutes, but what does that do? Doesn't do anything, right? Like going in, blowing everybody up. And we've never, ever replaced a regime through the air alone. Doesn't happen that way. Meanwhile, here in Nashville, I don't know if you guys are aware of this. Remember that there's a lot of property, taxes that are extremely high, and some people are a little upset about it. We're starting to see the
if they don't like them, they can move out of town.
That's right. We're starting to see the ramifications of that.
in front of Pelican and Pig, and Saturday will be the last days that those doors will open for business. And the owner says that rising costs, especially property taxes, is what led to this quick but not easy decision. The owner, Nick Gertie, says that the numbers just don't add up anymore. He says tourism is down, spending is tighter, and he says the money coming in just isn't matching what's going out, and every month is something. He says insurance is up, food costs have doubled just in the last week, and now a property tax bill that caught him off guard. He says when he saw that number, he knew they couldn't keep going.
Something like that just takes your knees out, and that's exactly what happened on Monday. It was, we look at income, we look at expenses, and we go, I don't know, I can't with any level of certainty say that we're going to make it any further. Nashville's going to change, and I don't know that that's for the better.
And the kind of Nashville that, we always joke about, Ken and I always joke about, everybody is what, we're going to have Chili's everywhere now? Because we heard, obviously, what Freddie said, right, when Acme came out. And so he said, well, sometimes businesses, they succeed and sometimes they don't. And you start sitting here thinking, now you're starting to see what the ramifications are of property taxes that are unreasonable. They're unreasonable. They're ridiculous. And one of the things they're fighting for, which is common sense, is, hey, why don't we do an income-based kind of property tax, as for a revenue-based property tax, instead of we're just valuing this building at X? And because otherwise, what are you going to have? And I have news for you. If you think you're going to go, we'll put a Chili's in, some of these places, or, we always joke about a Chili's or one of these, any kind of chain thing, that is also going to overcome the fact that you almost have $1 million property tax. You're insane. It's not going to happen. It isn't. But now you're starting to see the fact that, yes, this is real life now. You're going to see places that are, near and dear to people's hearts.
What was the other one that was having to close?
Acme.
Acme Feed and Seed?
Yeah. Because they went from 100 and I think it was 30,000 a year in property to 600,000.
Yeah, that sounds reasonable.
Yeah, that's totally reasonable. It is. And that's why they're arguing, hey, why can't we do a revenue-based thing, right? So, because if my revenue for everything and is, $600,000 before that's all, and I've got to pay my rent and I've got to pay, and all of a sudden you're like, well, your bill is $600,000 and then you got to pay everything else. Well, you're done. You can't afford to live. And now what you're going to have,
businesses come and go.
Well, they do. They do.
I think I stole that from someone.
Yeah, Freddie. But the revenue base I could see when it comes to property taxes on businesses, because you're taxing, you go and you tax these buildings. Well, the property value is worth X, and so we should be taxing it at this. And then the other thing was such a surprise. It's here. And we're efforting to try to do the show from there. So from Acme, which I think would be cool. Because, and it's not just them. It's so many people down, you go down Broadway, they're just complaining about the fact that, what are we going to do? Show? Well, what's going to be left? It's going to be Kid Rock's place and a few others. It's insane. And then what happens is, think about if you own that building. Right now, you got these bizarre triple net here for so many of these. Well, you own that building. Now you've lost your source of some revenue. And you still have to pay the taxes. So your building's empty, and you got to pay the taxes. So what are you going to try to do? You're going to try to sell it? Absolutely. Flip it? Get rid of it?
Sell it to Applebee's.
Mm-hmm.
Or actually, I'd prefer they do it TGIF.
Oh, do it like a TGIF.
Yeah, this is a good place. I mean, it's no Charlie's, but what are you going to do?
No, I do like a TGIF. I could do a TGIF. I could do that. We have a Chili's just down the road anyways. So.
Can't have enough of those, though.
No. But part of, the beauty of coming to a place like Nashville or any place you go in America, like if you wanted to go to I want to go to Cape Cod, and you went to Cape Cod and all that was there was McDonald's, Taco Bell, and, you want to go have the, Chili's or No, you want to go and have the little things that make it who it is and what it is. Like yesterday, we were talking about that giant burger, whatever the hell it was that Ken brought up to us. The gold bucket list or whatever it was, the thing that Elvis ate.
Oh, yeah, that he took his whole staff to Vegas to get, and it was 8,000 calories, a loaf of bread, a jar of peanut butter, a jar of preserves,
and a pound of bacon. But you're not going to get that.
That was the appetizer.
Yeah, you're not going to get that if everything's just nothing but commercials, just all commercialism. And we'll see what happens.
I mean, the situation is going to become as such where people complain about it's all corporate. It's, where's the originality? Where's the local flavor? You're taxing it out of existence.
Yeah. Businesses, you know what? Freddie's right. Businesses fail. But businesses shouldn't fail because government put them out of business by making it ridiculous to operate. See California. And the insanity there, except for us, who was going to start our hospice there, guys. And I'm going to tell you guys why next hour. It is a booming business. I'm just letting you guys know that. All right, coming up, Ken's going to have the latest on what's going on in Michigan. Obviously, there was a looked to be an act of terrorism today at a synagogue there. And he'll have the latest on that. What?
Fox is reporting the only injury at the synagogue was to the lead security officer who was hit by the car. Oh. But he's expected to be okay.
That's good. And the other guy burned to death.
Did he?
Sounds like. Yeah, that's what they're saying.
Good for him.
Yeah, he got what he deserved right there. He got what he deserved. So 2 shootings, all kinds of chaos today. It's been one of those days, no doubt about that. Guy apparently had mortars inside of his car, which is, and obviously sounds like he got the only bit of that, which is, thank God for that. Chad Benson Show, Super Talk 997. Relief Factor is awesome. I take it every single day. I'm working out harder. Dad, want to make sure I feel good when I get home, and I'm trying to get fit again. And Relief Factor allows me to continue to go on and work out more and more. And inflammation is a big deal, especially as you get a little bit older, right? We don't always eat great. And part of that, it leads to our inflammation. So what happens? Sore muscles, aches and pains in your joints, just a kick in the butt. Relief Factor is going to help you with that. It focuses on the pathways where there is that inflammation, especially, for me, I'm lifting more weights, I'm doing stuff like that. I just recover so much better. I feel great. That's what I want you to do. And try Relief Factor. It's naturally formulated, resveratrol, omega-3 fatty acids, all this incredible stuff in it. You're going to feel 1,000 times better after a few days. You're going to really feel the difference. You do not have to live in pain. So get yourself some Relief Factor now, right? 3-week quick start, $19.95. It's less than $20. Go to relieffactor.com, relieffactor.com, or call 800-4RELIEF, 800-4RELIEF for Relief Factor. Tell them Chad sent you. All right, guys. Good friends over at Beacon love to talk to you about all things when it comes to your retirement. And I do mean all things. Taxes? Yeah. They help you with that, especially with the One Big Beautiful Bill. Opportunities to take advantage of certain things, whether it's, charitable deduction, whether it's your interest on your car loan. And if you're over 65, it's not a full get-out-jail card, if you will, for Social Security, but it's a good start, and there's great opportunities there. Maybe it's long-term care. Beacon can help you with that. Maybe it is the dollars and cents. You're worried about outliving your retirement. You want to make sure you got everything set up correctly. Or maybe it's just healthcare, estate planning. They can do all of those things. So why don't you call Beacon? Get yourself a free, and I do mean free, personalized financial consultation. It's not going to cost you anything, but a little bit of time. They're local here. 615-488-9303. 615-488-9303. Check them out online at beaconcm.com, beaconcm.com for Beacon Capital Management. This is a paid placement.
Active shooters, one in Michigan, one in Virginia. We've got full reports. Iran State TV today read a statement purported to be from the new Ayatollah. Nobody's seen the new Ayatollah in person yet. And here in Tennessee, a bill that would expand coverage for biomarker testing stalled when lawmakers ran out of time to talk about it. Details coming up at 2 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Da-da-da-da. A lot of you guys, again, I don't have the perfect answer for the tax thing because a lot of you guys are, what can we do? What can we do for this? What can we do for that? Somebody said, well, the means testing when it comes to, revenue, you've got to come up with something that is not so ridiculous. We always talk about healthcare is a perfect example, right? So you go to healthcare, and what does everybody talk about? That shock bill they get in the mail. Oh. Well, that's what everybody got. And several other people go, yeah, well, this place just closed, and that place just closed. Not because, well, maybe one of them wasn't very good, but for the most part, it's because they realize I'm not going to be able to afford to do this. I'm not going to be able to afford to keep my business open. And so that leaves an empty space. And here's the thing. Freddie and them doesn't care. What is it about? It's about revenue. Well, guess what? That building's still there. Somebody owns that building unless you're defaulting on it. So what does that mean? Somebody's going to have to pay those taxes. Whether you're there or not, somebody will.
Yeah, and if they can't get somebody in there to take over that burden, then they're going to end up having to sell the building, and then it goes back to what big corporate entity is going to come in and pay that can afford to pay those kind of taxes and put something in there.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's just it. It has to be an entity that can afford to not be revenue positive because they're revenue positive elsewhere, and they could even use it partially as a write-off while they build it. But no startup's going to move in there and having to pay, $600,000 a year plus the rent. So you're out $70,000 almost a month.
Especially when you're talking about places like bars and restaurants when they work on such thin margins. To begin with.
Crazy. All right, coming up, hour number 3 of the program. Take some of your texts as well. So we try to jam through some stuff. I still have that crazy story. I think we should do that. We need a little laughter. And there's some craziness in this. There is some crazy. You guys have no idea. It is like super crazy. Chad Benson, Super Talk 99.7.
Two o'clock on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Goodlettsville, we've got a crash. 65 northbound right after Long Hollow Pike. And then here in Nashville, Burkett Road at Nolensville Pike. Full forecast coming up in 5 minutes. 2 active shooters today. First in Michigan, a suspect is dead. A security guard injured after a car rammed a Detroit area synagogue. It was Temple Israel there in West Bloomfield.
Authorities tell ABC News the suspect intentionally drove their vehicle around security barriers and then crashed into the front doors of Temple Israel, causing a fire. Security then opened fire. Bloomfield County Sheriff Michael Bouchard says it comes as law enforcement has been on high alert amid the conflict in Iran.
We've been talking for 2 weeks about the potential, sadly, of this happening, so there was no lack of preparation.
Police in New York City and elsewhere are currently stepping up patrols at synagogues. Mike Dubusky, ABC News.
In Virginia, one person dead, 2 people injured after a shooting on the campus of Old Dominion University in Norfolk. One person, the person who is dead, was the shooter. This student describes what he and other classmates heard.
We were just in class. It was a normal Thursday, and then there was some kind of noise, and then lots of running, lots of footsteps down the hallway, like a stampede of elephants.
Meanwhile, in the ongoing U.S. and Israeli military action on Iran and its proxies, ABC's Guy Davies says a statement was read on state TV in Tehran by one of the hosts, claiming the statement is from the new Ayatollah.
We've just had a statement from Iran's new supreme leader, Mujtaba Khamenei, for the first time. A newsreader on Iranian state media read out the statement. He spoke about his father, Ali Khamenei, who was killed on the first day of the war, and said the Strait of Hormuz, that critical shipping lane for 20% of the world's oil supply, will remain closed. Intelligence sources have indicated that he may in fact be injured, and this will do nothing to dispel the swirling rumors about his condition. Guy Davies, ABC News in Tel Aviv.
Another part of that statement said Iran is looking at opening other fronts. Here in Tennessee, Fort Campbell investigators say 2 suspects have now been identified in the theft of 4 military drones, according to Fox 17. Fox 17 says the report says the drones disappeared from a secured building on a post back in November. The investigators believe the theft was intentional and carried out by people with legitimate access. Officials say security has since been tightened and there's no risk to the public. And over at the State House, a bill that would expand coverage for biomarker testing in Tennessee stalled Tuesday when lawmakers ran out of time. The measures aimed at helping cancer patients access tests that can guide treatment decisions. One woman from Jackson telling News 2 her tumor doubled in size in less than 2 weeks, and early testing helped save her life.
These biomarker tests are beyond what a regular patient can afford. I mean, they are very expensive, but they are worth the money in terms of proactive treatment.
Now, for now, the bill is in limbo. That's the latest news. Weather's next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
Sports with Chapman Show is powered by NCA National Certified Alarms. No long-term contracts. License number 645. We're still. What are you laughing at, dude?
I do I edit the repeats for each evening, and I have to edit it down to just you.
Yes.
So sometimes Ken will say something that you respond to, and what you're responding to gets edited out. And I was editing the repeat today, and you came in on one segment and went, "Speaking of abortion."
Sometimes I'll say some stuff like that. I will. So the leader, I don't know if he's alive. He's not. Do they really need a leader at this time? They've got enough clerics. And he's a 12er, by the way, the electric boogaloo. That's what we call him. The electric boogaloo. Khomeini 2, electric boogaloo. He is he's actually 3 because there is a second. He's got he's the second oldest son. Man, he has got a stacked real estate portfolio.
No vow of poverty with him?
No vow. He's not like the monks that were walking for peace. This guy was not walking for peace. He was mullahing for mullahs. But he's got a stacked, absolute stacked, 150 million-ish, give or take, real estate portfolio. So this whole thought that they all want to die, they don't want to die. They don't. But they'd go down swinging. There's no doubt about that. And they look at us and they say to us, hey, America, if we can keep gas prices high, we can make your life miserable. No, that's not true. But it is true. I mean, that's the thing. It is true. And I think it's safe to say we have a limited, we've got an attitude here that, how does this affect me? Far away, doesn't really affect me. Do I really want to see boots on the ground? We're broke AF as a nation. We're overextended on just about everything. We're at a point now where just meeting the service of the debt is getting close to becoming bigger than our entitlements. And that is not a good place to be. All that being said, Larry Kudlow.
Back this. Will the Americans stay the course? $3.50 gasoline. My attitude is, who cares? You're changing the arc of history. You're ending this 47-year war, et cetera, et cetera. Do we have confidence that American folks, particularly the hard-working folks in the middle class, will they back Mr. Trump?
Well, I think they'll back him for a little while, but they're not going to back him forever. Look, there are 3 huge challenges that this administration has tackled. The first is that, and they should have frankly moved on this on day one, they have to keep the Strait of Hormuz open.
Yes.
I don't care what it costs. If they can't keep it open, this war will in fact be an American defeat before very long, because the entire world, including the American people, will react to the price of oil if the Strait stays closed very long. So,
yeah. Chris Wright, Energy Secretary, today was asked, could oil get to $200? He said, it's possible. Is it likely? No. We're going to release our strategic, the International, Energy Association, they're going to release all this, 400 million barrels. Well, they're not releasing them all one day. They're going to release them 1 to 2 million a day, strategery. Why is that? Stable the market. Market wants stability. I traded in the NYMEX for a while. That's the energy markets. I traded commodities for a long time. That was my job when I was younger, because I chased the money. By the way, it's good money if you could stand it, but it isn't the funnest thing in the world. But the reality of that market is.
Did you have to wear a suit and tie?
First place I worked was a currency place. You didn't have to wear a suit. They didn't want a jacket, but you had to wear suspenders. I don't know why. They all thought they were,
Okay, I think
But
I
yeah,
see
the
why
other
you aren't
places
there
I wore
anymore.
suits and ties, kind of not really. I was always in trouble because I walk in, they're like, Chad, everybody else is dressed up, and you didn't tie it, and you're wearing tennis shoes. They're so comfy. So then there was just times they were just like, they'd walk over to me, and I'm not even trying at this point. I have like a Hawaiian shirt on, black socks, and it's shorts, and I'm like, what do you want, right? I'm here. Nobody can see me. But I traded in the commodity market, and I traded energies. Energies, they're insane. You buy the rumor. Craziness. What's going to happen? Could they turn it into a nightmare for us? Yes. What happens if this is a nightmare and prices go up? We don't like that because it's not just what we see, which every day when you drive by, gas stations, that's something you see. Psychologically, it affects you. Something you feel is when you go to the store and you pay for stuff.
I lived through this with Reagan as you did in the late 80s. Keeping the Strait open is the number one job because it buys you time for the two other jobs. The second job is we're going to discover that the Revolutionary Guard is tougher than we thought it was, better connected, and have at least 200,000 people who are true believers, and they have no future. I mean,
right.
Trump can say unconditional surrender.
Right.
These folks know if they lose power, they have no future.
Yeah. And there's no second chance. They're not giving up their weapons, having slaughtered how many of their countrymen. And take away even what you saw in January. The Revolutionary Guard has been doing their thing for quite a while. So they're not going to go, oh, you know what, you guys, here, you take the weapons. It'll be all right. You guys will forgive us. When Trump was out there offering them, we're going to forgive anybody, we're willing to work with anybody. Yeah, it doesn't work that way. They have nowhere else to go. It's either you fight and hopefully you survive or you die. Those are the only things you have. More from Newt.
And the third challenge is, how do you arouse and organize the street, the 85 million or so people in Iran who do not want the current regime, but they're unarmed, they're unorganized, and that has to be solved. These three problems are going to decide whether this was a stroke of genius or, frankly, a step into quicksand. And I think that the president has to focus very hard on solving these three issues.
Yeah. And he's got to do it quick. And he understands that. He's no fool. He sees the polling. He gets that. He sees the polling. And the polling tells him, you got to pivot here. You've got to pivot here. And he will. And this is something we should never have been in. This is something we got dragged in. And Newt Gingrich said it there. It's Sun Tzu. If you underestimate your enemy, you can't do that. You have to get inside their mind. You have to figure out exactly where it is that you think they're going to go and how they're going to act. And it is much easier, no matter how much we bombard them, because they've decentralized everything, to play defense, because all they have to do is survive. That's it. And with no real clear path to, hey, guess what? Here's the clear path. We want regime change. Well, then you're going to have to put boots on the ground. You're not going to bomb them into regime change. Well, we want all their nuclear stuff. Well, some of it's probably buried to, God knows where. And the other parts they've probably hidden. So then what? That's the question.
I was watching a YouTube video of some of the underground missiles they have, not just stored, but the entire firing system is underground, and how they hit those places to knock them out.
Yes.
And if you're a worker in one of those places, there's a very good chance that you don't necessarily die when it hits, but you get trapped under there and you starve or suffocate to death.
My ex is from England, and her grandparents, they all lived through the war. They're really old. They're hilarious. Alf, it's crazy. Alf is one of those old English guys you see in the movies that, like, if you wanted to find out where he is, you just call down to the pub, Is Alf there? Oh, yeah. But they used to tell us they had to go down to the underground. And that was always their fear in the underground, that eventually everything would collapse, and rather than dying instantly, they would just slowly suffocate. And yeah, but they've hidden a lot of stuff. There's no doubt. And the other thing is too, all they have to be is a pest. Again, this is not about winning a war. They know who would win a war. We all know who'd win a war. But we're built for a different kind of kinetic, boom, kick in the grundle kind of thing. And so their thing is, how can we economically make it so untenable that you don't want to be a part of this right now and you stop bombing? Because we're going to try to influence you. It's the same thing. Look at Vietnam. Nobody paid a lot of attention to Vietnam. Then once the body bag started to grow, then once they started to see stuff on television, and everything changed. Everything changed in a heartbeat.
It was almost like the country had gotten inured to war, because we went from World War II into Korea, and then shortly after that, Vietnam starts, and after a while, the populace is just like, I don't want to think about this anymore.
Yes, that's
but
exactly.
Then they start seeing it on TV, and they can't avoid thinking about it anymore.
Correct. They can't, and we got to the point, and remember how small, look what we did. We vaporized tons of Vietnam. We killed way more than they did, but 100 body bags of our soldiers a week, that was enough. That was, once people started, it became a real thing. It's not that we don't have the stomach for it. You saw what happened in, World War II. It's a perfect example. There's a fight that's a good fight, but it was a police action. It wasn't the kind of thing where it was front page all the time, but once it became front page, Vietnam, that changed everything. Once the attitude changed here, the fight went out for America to keep going, look, we got to do this. It was, let's get us out of this.
And the single most important element of World War II was that we were actually attacked first.
Yes.
They hit Pearl Harbor, and that made it personal, where we never had any real personal feelings about Korea or Vietnam. That was somebody else's war that we were over there fighting.
Far away. Far, far away. That was it. Same thing with World War I. We weren't attacked first, but we got into the war. But what did it mean? Well, I don't know. Our guys been far away. That was it. It wasn't here. We're not fighting on the streets here. And so we feel it, though, in our pocketbooks. And to this day, I tell everybody, it's about the economy, stupid. Why? Because we're a checkbook voting society. A checkbook voting society. It's always about the economy, stupid. James Carville, the greatest thing probably said in politics when it comes to elections, it's about the economy, stupid. And if we feel in our pocketbooks, we'll say to ourselves, we need to make a change. And that's what they're hoping for.
Well, when we first went into Iraq, there was a huge backlash about that possibility.
Yes.
People did not want us doing that until I think it was James Baker came out and in the middle of an interview in the hallways of Congress, one of the reporters goes, what's this war supposed to be about? And he goes, jobs. Yeah. And that changed everything overnight.
Yeah, jobs. Well, what do you want it to be? We've means tested a lot of these things. We've went out and tested all kinds of stuff. You guys tell us what you think is this thing should be about. And whatever sells, then we'll sell it to you. We'll sell it to you. All right, coming up. And we're still going to do that funny thing coming up in a little bit, right? And we've got some other funny stuff as well. Also, talk a little bit more about CVS and the taxes. A lot of you guys are sending in, restaurants that are closed. Some of you are sending in your stories about the nightmare of your personal home, not business, and what your taxes have gone up to and why are they charging you that much? Because remember, it's about them, not you. All right? So just always remember that. Chad Bench, Super Talk 99.7. Prize picks. It's awesome. You pick more or less based on projected stats of players. And right now, you're going to get a first oomph with Prize Picks. When you go and you download the app today, it's America's #1 sports picking app, and you use my code Chad. Now, the minute you play your first $5 lineup, 2 or more players, based on projected stats, you're going to get $50 instantly in lineups. They have great promos. They've got things like injury reboot, stacks. They've got payout early. They've got all of those things, but you can get $50 instantly in lineups to play your first $5 lineup. So you set a lineup. It could be any sports. It could be yesterday, soccer. I took Kylian Mbappe, more than 1.5 shots. And then I go over here and go, okay, cool. Well, then I can take maybe Steph Curry over 4.5, more than 4.5 3-pointers. There's a lineup set, and away you go. It is that simple. So download the app today. Use my code Chad. When you do, you can get $50 instantly in lineups and play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks. It's good to be right.
A road rage incident leads to an officer-involved shooting here in Middle Tennessee. And then we got the 2 active shooters in 2 other states in this nation today. We've got updates on all of the big stories at 2:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Ooh, it's been a day. Man, Ken, I haven't had a chance to talk to Ken today because he's been so busy.
Well, just whenever I thought it was going to slow down, nope. Here comes Channel 4 with the alert about this road rage, and then after it, an officer-involved shooting.
Well, maybe you prioritize us over your job sometime.
Yeah, maybe you pay attention to us, Ken. We care about you. I go, Bell, is he okay? He goes, dude, he just looks so stressed. We have these great days. We talk about all the fun stuff. Next thing you know, we're talking about crap that we don't like talking about.
Yeah, well, that's what happens in the news business. I mean, right as everything seems to be settled down now with the Old Dominion University shooting and then the synagogue in Detroit, then all of a sudden, I'm thinking, okay, all right, everything's cool now. We can report comprehensively. It's not coming out of a fire hose anymore. And then, boop, here comes an alert from Channel 4. Road rage incident leads to officer-involved shooting.
Good God. What is going on with us?
Will these people stop messing with our fun?
Exactly.
Yeah, we don't need bad news.
Yeah,
stop.
If you want to do that with Dan in the morning, he'd be happy to have that.
Yeah, I was busy, and then I heard you guys bring up the big bacon, peanut butter, and jelly sandwich we were talking about yesterday. And I said, I can't talk to them about this.
So good. So good.
Well, if you can't talk to us about it, you're not getting one when we order them.
We're going to have them flown here in our private jet.
Here's my question.
Yeah.
What do you do with the bread that you hollow out from the loaf? Do you make pudding with it?
Well, you eat it as a snack while you're building the sandwich.
Yeah, man.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I mean, that's the amateur hour right there. Remember, the whole thing is, and the good news is it's a lot of carbs. And we know carbs, solid for you. So good for your carbs.
And then I heard you had some more peanut butter.
Oh, this morning, man. I did a story today. Like the new trend is people wake up in the morning and on an empty stomach, they have hot water.
Yeah, I've heard this.
Right. Because this is what the Chinese do and stuff. And then this doctor's like, you're drinking water, you idiots. It's not magic. That's it. You're drinking hot water.
The Chinese killed 60 million of their own people, too. I don't think we need to replicate that.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. And I'm like, I wake up in the morning and I have a piece of peanut butter or 2 or 5 or 10. Today was a shameful day. Not going to lie to you. Man, sometimes I look in the microwave, it's like standing right there as I'm eating, and I'm just looking up and I see the glimpse of the microwave and I just go, shame. Shame.
The microwave, it just turns into
It does. Puts its head down. Like,
looking at you.
I don't even know you. I don't even know you. So, but I've got some crazy stories coming up that I want to, because I think we need a little fun. And I'm telling you guys, the more so if you guys don't know what's going on in Los Angeles, the hospice business is booming because it's easy. It is. It's not hard to get a license. It's easy to get a license. It's, you don't have to fill out a ton of stuff. It's not, some things to get cleared through the state, it's tough. Not this. Not this.
Really?
And you know what's interesting? So last year alone, they said they think they paid out $110 million just in L.A. County.
Wow.
Now get ready for this. You know who, everybody's like, wow, who are these groups? Cartels.
And they're building the hospices in the Pacific Palisades.
Yeah, there's plenty of room available. Cartels, and the reason is big money, small slap on the wrist. You're not going to jail forever if you get caught. So they're running huge, huge programs out there because it's easy to do that, as well as just the one-off person who's doing something.
So all you got to do is just kind of like you just send in a claim.
Yeah.
And it gets paid.
And Medicare pays fast. Boom, boom, boom. They pay fast compared to it. And they don't check. They don't have enough people.
Wow.
They're, Rob Bonta, who's the AG out there, he says, he goes, well, look, we're investigating 110 of them. They're like, this one over here's already been caught. They're still open. He goes, we're trying to get to as many as possible. There's just not enough.
We're government people. Stop expecting results.
But in a 3-block radius, there are 700 hospices, and there's like 200 in this one building.
Yeah.
And some of them are real. It's their P.O. box kind of thing.
Right.
But I'm telling you guys, we are missing out.
Is it kind of like the daycare centers in Michigan?
Yeah, kind of like that. Exactly like that.
We'll put up pictures of bluefin tunas in our office.
Oh, that's what we call it. We'll call ourselves that.
Bluefin
Hospice.
Why are we pretending this is ever going to happen? Because somebody won't even get us a boat.
Well, but this one's easier to do. It's like a fax. We could literally fax them over and probably start, This is the other, I was sitting there going, man, the amount of money that, and people are stealing millions. And even if they get in trouble, they're going to jail for 2 years. They're not going to jail forever.
See, for an associate of the cartel, that's nothing.
No, that's nothing. Nothing. And so what they're doing is they think they're starting to branch out because it's just easy to do.
You just make a couple of $1 million, go to prison for a couple of years, and get out and get paid.
That's right. Get out and get paid.
You go to prison, you make your bones with the cartel, and you recruit while you're in there.
Yeah.
You come out, you look like a hero.
And it's rinse and repeat. Go to the next state. Go to the next state. As many as you possibly can. All right, coming up, we're going to talk. We got some fun stories. Let's do some fun stuff. We all need a little bit of fun. This thing that we're going to talk about today, it is crazy. That's the only thing I can describe. It is so crazy. I don't even know how to describe it. So we're going to do this. I'm telling you guys, you got to start writing me and say, what the hell is that? Exactly. Exactly. We'll talk about that straight ahead, Chap Ed Show. Super Talk 987.
I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Got the full forecast coming up in 5 minutes. Right now in Middle Tennessee, authorities in Smyrna say a road rage incident led to an officer-involved shooting around noon today. Happened on South Lowry Street. Police say officers opened fire, injuring a suspect who was taken to a local hospital. No officers were hurt. Investigators say there's no ongoing threat to the public. Tennessee Bureau of Investigation now leading the investigation. Right now, in other parts of the nation, 2 active shooters are dead in 2 states. First in Michigan, a car carrying mortars rammed into a Detroit area synagogue, injuring a security guard. The suspect is dead. The body badly burned. ABC News contributor Richard Frankel says multiple agencies on the scene.
This case most likely will be taken over by the Joint Terrorism Task Force, which is made up of both the FBI, DHS entities, and many of the different local law enforcement agencies, and I'm sure including the state police.
In Virginia, 1 person died, 2 people injured after a gunman opened fire on the campus of Old Dominion University in Norfolk. This student says he had just left Constant Hall where the shooting occurred.
I just left class in Constant Hall, and then I walked over to Web Center to read my book and get a coffee. And as I was sitting, probably about 30 or so people just left straight out the front door, and we ran down the road.
Now, the person who died is the shooter, according to authorities there in Norfolk. Iran State TV read a statement today it says was from the new Ayatollah. It said the Strait of Hormuz will stay closed, and they're considering opening other fronts to the ongoing U.S. and Israeli military action on Iran and its proxies in Lebanon. Here's ABC's Marcus Moore.
It's also notable when we talk about this statement that the Ayatollah, the new Ayatollah, did not appear on camera. We also have not heard his voice. He's reportedly been recovering at a hospital, according to sources, where he suffered injuries, according to those sources, to his legs. He was injured in the same airstrike that killed his father and other family members.
That's the latest news. Weather's next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. The Wellness Institute of Nashville is awesome. If you've got issues with your back, right, your knees, you're in that position where, and I'm talking about serious stuff, right? You're worried you're going to have to get surgery. You go to the Wellness Institute of Nashville. Right now, 2026 special, 47% off non-surgical decompression, right? This is spinal decompression. This is the best you're going to find around. Nobody does it better than Dr. Mitchell. They're my doctor. They should be your doctor as well. Dr. Mitchell, first and foremost, knowledge through the roof. Secondly, innovation. He's got a new hydrowave machine. He's it, the only one in the state that has it. And it's incredible. What it does stimulates your own stem cells, right? And it helps in ways you cannot believe. They got everything, robot lasers, anti-gravity machines. They've got it all. So bring your MRI. Get over there to see Dr. Mitchell right now. Take advantage of 47% off and get feeling better. Get your back back. Get your body moving again. You don't have to live in pain. Call 615-246-5009, 615-246-5009. Check out everything they do online at painisbad.com.
Ta, 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 ta. It's for you, Belle. Nice. It's nice. It's a good one. Before we get to the crazy stories, you guys know how crazy Minneapolis has been, right? With all the fraud. They're finally doing something that's right. You see, in Minneapolis, they have a law in Minnesota. You know what that law is? Sorry, old people inside the old people home, you guys can't have alcohol. They're trying to change that law because you see these old folks, they want their alcohol. Take it away, Anita.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair, members of the committee. My name is Anita. I am a resident at Amira Choice in Champlin, Minnesota. I am here not just on behalf of myself, but on behalf of the entire community of residents of the assisted living community who are trying to live our lives. Just because we are older and live in assisted living doesn't mean that we should have fewer freedoms than anyone else. Imagine our surprise when the community we have chosen has to stop coordinating social events that bring us together.
They want their drink. Anita wants her drink.
How old's Anita?
She's in her probably 80s-ish.
Yeah, I think she's entitled.
Yeah, she's had a few pops.
She's paying to live there.
Mm-hmm.
She's above age.
Yeah.
You know, I don't think we need to be messing with Anita and her cocktails.
So they're going to change the law so they can actually have happy hour in the elderly facility, right? Which is awesome.
And that should also include hospice.
Yeah.
Because if you're dying and you want to have a drink, nobody should be able to tell you no.
So I have a thing that I wanted to do, but a lot of conservative stations get a little squeamish because I was going to do a thing called Wicked Wishes, right? So like you're 17, you know, you don't want to go to Disneyland to see Mickey Mouse. You want to be motorboated.
Yeah.
When you're 17.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You want to be motorboated or you want to see Motorhead and Lemmy's dead, so you can't do anything
How
with
do you
Motorhead.
How do you die? With a smile on his face. So, and then, you know, we can extend that to the elderly, right? And we're going to do the bucket list. And the reason this is entertaining, have you guys seen Landman? Some of you probably have. In Landman, Allie Larder. Oh my God, she's so hot. She plays Billy Bob's wife, and her and their daughter, they want to do good for, you know, they're just the most vapid human beings ever, and they're gorgeous. So they go to an old folks home and they start partying with them and taking them to strip clubs and doing all this stuff. And I just laughed. I said, that's what we should totally be doing, right? They're not dead. They're still alive. They want to have fun. They want to catch STDs. Which is the number one growing STD group in America? Elderly.
I've only seen actually one, not a promo, but one extended piece of video on the show, and it was the daughter talking to Billy Bob Thornton, and she said some of the grossest stuff that I could ever imagine a kid saying to their parent.
Yeah, she is smoking hot. And she's supposed to be in high school, but she's like 23. But she has been in every one of Taylor's shows. She was in 1883. She was in Yellowstone. She was in 1923. He puts her in everything. There's a reason for that.
Because she's hot.
Yeah, there's a little bit of that. All right, guys. Now it's time to get serious. Hold on to your hats and glasses. I sent it to you last night, Ken.
Okay.
And I'm going to tell you. Let me tell you how it started. I was watching something on the old TikTok, and it was, as a kid growing up, my favorite show. Like, my absolute favorite thing ever was a show called Giant Robot over here, but originally it's called Johnny Sacco and the Flying Robot. And somehow it thought, oh, you like robots. And then the next thing it sends me is this lady. And you're like, well, what does this have to do? You know, I'm flipping around. And then it's another one like this. These women here, these women that are grown-ass women are pretending to have real babies. And they're lifelike dolls. They have real kids. I am not kidding. They have hundreds of thousands and millions of followers, which, by the way, run to the comments. I twisted my ankle trying to get there last night. But listen to some of this insanity. This woman thinks she's pretend pregnant.
Baby girl is less than 2 weeks away from coming, you guys. So, you guys have to build.
She is not pregnant. There is nothing about her that is pregnant except the fake belly that she's wearing.
Nip it in the bud.
There is not. She's insane. Here's the other thing. They talk to the kids. They have fake things. And it gets crazier. This lady is the queen of them all. She has several children that she has.
Good morning.
Good morning? What is that? She goes into a room that has a baby crib, and there's a baby standing there like it's 1 year old trying to look over. Good morning.
Are you also awake?
You're not, because you're not real.
Good morning, Ellie. Danny, rise and shine.
Oh, my.
So she's got like a 1 year old. She has got a, and it's not real. None of them are real. They're all fake. They're all not a real. And they look real, though. That's the thing. They look really real. Then she's got like a 5 year old and a 7 year old and a 9 year old. And they're all lifelike. And she talks to them. Hey, don't forget, you got soccer today.
Arms up.
Oh, yeah. She feeds them real food. Number one comment besides, this is psychosis. You're nuts. Are you okay? What my favorite one was, I'm the most open-minded person in the world, but I think I have now found my limit. The amount of food, though, these people burn through. That's not, making lunches and making fake food, taking them out to fake school.
Ellie, come on. Time to get up. Danny. Are you ready for your bottle? Yes, you have soccer today. Would you both like to wear short sleeves today?
What?
I want to see it at soccer.
I do too.
Take it to soccer, mama.
Full rooms. I'm talking about like hundreds of thousands of dollars, and these of stuff that these people are spending, because these dolls aren't cheap. We got Charlie one. She played with it for like a week, and then she goes, "It kind of creeps me out. I don't want it." So, I just had to go, what the hell's going on here? And I told my wife, and I'm sending this to Ken. Right? Ken's got to
look
see
at this.
Yeah, you got to see it
Did you
because
on the gram.
Yeah, no, it's on the old X. I mean, not the X, but the TikTok.
Okay.
And it is the only way to describe it is beyond creepy. Like,
that's what she said.
Yeah, that is exactly what she said. It is so creepy to look at these people that are, with their fake, because it looks like they just took little humans and froze them. Here's some of the great comments you have here. What happened to you here? Seriously, just curious. But so many people are worried about the food because all these people don't have any food. And I told my wife, the crazy thing is, like, after getting through all this, the next thing I see is a midnight ballerina. And she's like, it's 5 a.m. I got a couple hours of sleep after, midnight ballerina. For those who don't know, that's stripping. And she goes, now I have to get my children ready for school. She's the only one with real children. I'm like, who would have thought the lady that lives in like a 2-bedroom apartment with too many kids, right? Midnight ballerina, getting her real kids for school. And these people, in the houses these people live in, because only white women in the Western world would do this kind of insanity.
Dude, those dolls are creepy.
Are they not creepy, dude? It is.
That's creepy.
It is.
You're right. They're like corpses.
Yes, that's exactly what it is. They're corpses. They take them and they put them in baby seats and cars and take them places.
Wow.
This sucked and you failed.
Thank you, Stewie.
not like that video you sent me below it of the capybara riding on the turtle.
Capybaras. I'm so close to getting one. Man, I almost pulled a trigger last night on one. My wife's looking at me. Charlie's like, do it, Dad.
And what's Steph doing? Don't do it.
No.
Don't do it.
No. Because you know what she is? She's a fun ruiner. So that lady there that I sent you with all the dolls?
Yeah.
Somebody goes, do you have any real kids? And she goes, yeah, I've got 5 from like 18 to 30. And somebody goes, you need to check on them.
Yes.
It is, yeah, it is scary. It is the kind of, but my other part of this is they all have fans. She's got like 600,000 followers.
Yeah.
She's on, I went and looked her up on YouTube. She's making millions.
Wow.
Millions of dollars.
Just
Hey,
doing
all that
this.
crazy for $1 million?
Yeah. You know, it's yeah. Everybody has a price, right? That's the truth. We all do. Let's not lie. What was the, I was watching this comic the other day saying, man, talking about, he was making fun of Leo DiCaprio. He goes, he worked so hard in that movie, The Reverend. I'm glad he won the Academy Award. He goes, he worked hard because he got paid $20 million. He goes, I think you underestimate what I would do for $20 million. I'm like, yeah, right. We all have a price. All of us do for something. I'll tell you that right now. All right, coming up. We needed that. We thought it was too much serious stuff today.
It's crazy,
It
man.
is crazy. Unstable.
What are we doing, boys?
How did we get
Why
here?
are we not doing something like this
Oh, we got to start thinking about it.
and making millions?
By the way, somebody just texted in and said, it's funny, Chad. I just met a lady who lives next door to me. She just moved in. She's the CEO of a hospice in California. She got herself a brand new Mercedes. I go, is she still running? He goes, yep.
Nice work if you can get it.
Oh, we're going to try to get it. Again, hospice, way easier.
Bluefin.
Bluefin Hospice. Some come in, none leave.
Exactly.
Oh, you guys are the worst. Chad Betts, Super Talk 99.7. Relief Factor is incredible. Take it every single day, especially now that I'm working out a lot more, lifting weights and stuff. And what I love about Relief Factor is for your muscles in particular, you're going to feel a difference. My wife feels a difference every single day, especially because she chases around my little one. And it's not only just the fact that you're not sore anymore, but it's also the fact that, it's not addictive. It's natural. It goes really attacks those pathways when it comes to inflammation. Which is awesome, and it's just incredible the way they formulated it. And I want you to get some Relief Factor. Try it right now. $19.95, 3-week quick start. You're going to feel a difference, especially if you exert yourself too much at work. You get home and you feel like you got nothing left. You're going to feel great. Try Relief Factor now. Go to ReliefFactor.com. That's ReliefFactor.com. Get yours now or call 800-4-RELIEF, 800-4-RELIEF for Relief Factor. Oh, baby, wrapping it up. Hope you have a quieter afternoon than we did with all the shootings and the people trying to blow themselves up at a synagogue.
Yeah, I saw that in Michigan. Good gracious.
Luckily,
they weren't very good.
No, they were not.
At what they were doing.
It was the Mr. Bean of bombings.
Right, and now they're DRT.
Yes.
Dead right there, which is nice.
So you didn't get slammed last night?
No, I offered him. So for those that don't know, I got a chance to introduce Glenn Jacobs, and Brian Wilson, filling in for Dan Mandis on Nashville's Morning News, had Glenn on the show, and Glenn offered to headlock me. And so I told him, I said, you got a shot. I'm introducing you, so let's go. And he goes, well, we'll see how it goes. And that was behind the stage. And then I introduced him, and I told him, I said, here's the chance. I I offered said neck for the headlock. And he said, no, I can't do it. I said, you promised, Brian, you'd do it. And he said, and I quote, well, politicians lie all the time. So,
Oh, that sucks.
He goes, no, I can't do it. I can't do that to you. But before then, he showed me the video, and I think he posted this video. He shows me the video of he's like delivering a speech.
Yeah.
And someone brings him out a mask.
He puts the mask on.
He puts the mask on, choke slams the guy, then turns out takes the mask off, and then keeps delivering the speech.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, well.
You got to love his sense of humor.
You got to love it.
Do.
Well, I love Glenn Jacobs. And the way I introduced him last night, I said, I got to the state of Tennessee, and, the fact that I'm a small little libertarian precedes me. And everybody told me I had to meet Knox County Mayor Glenn Jacobs. Bell was one of them, said, you got to meet the county mayor. And I think I was the only person in America that knew him as the Knox County mayor before I knew who Kane was. I had no idea.
Yeah.
I had no idea that I don't follow wrestling. And I said, I'm proud to know. Now I know that he had a 25-year wrestling career, and obviously he's one of the most famous wrestlers in the world. And I happen to think that he is a better public servant than he was a wrestler.
Yeah. See, when I see him, I always talk to him about, I loved See No Evil. It was an awesome movie you were in. It was a horror movie. He starts laughing because I don't care about the rest. You killed the dude with the hook. That's pretty awesome.
Was he in See No Evil? He was in a movie?
Yeah. He's in See No. It's a horror movie. It's the kind of movie that old Jackson would make you watch.
Oh, yeah. Well, don't give him any ideas.
It's not a great movie, but it's worth watching if you're a fan of Glenn.
Yeah. Because he's the bad guy. He's the monster. He's the Jason character.
Okay.
He's the star of the movie.
Okay.
This was, I think, that was the catalyst to try to push him to, can he be, one of the wrestlers like The Rock or somebody else that goes on and does something and goes in that direction.
Oh, yeah. I'm looking at this.
Yeah. So basically.
Good gracious. Oh, there he is.
There he is. That's it. Yeah. Yeah. So it's kind of like
he
that.
He doesn't look very happy.
No, he was not very happy, but he did do some damage. What are you going to be talking about today?
We're going to talk a little about the Education Scholarship Fund. I've got some concerns. You want to think the best of the individuals that are passing these types of things, and I still can be perhaps convinced that it's ultimately for the good, but I got a lot of concerns about how this is moving forward in terms of the number of kids being served versus the price tag. If we're up to $330 million, and we're talking about like 3.5–4% of the total student population.
Yeah.
It seems like a lot of money. I don't know that that's a good ROI.
No. And
now.
The other side of it is, where's the accountability? Where's some transparency on where exactly this money's going?
Who's getting the need? Is it needs-based?
Yeah.
Or is it going to kids that are already in private school?
Yeah. These kids are in private school. We want to give them choice. Well, you're not giving them a choice. You're just paying for what they've already chosen.
Yeah, we're just supplementing what they've already chosen to do. So we're going to explore that a little bit, talk a little more about the General Assembly today.
Right on. He being Matt, straight ahead. You guys have a good one.